While pay by mail.
Okay, we'll keep our eye on this. Thanks so much for the information, Jason.
Absolutely.
Next up, we go from roadways to Hot Wheels, and not the kind you played with as a child. These are big boy toys. Carolina Impact's John Branscombe and Suzette RHEE introduce us to a special collector.
Tom Logano is a call-it-like-you-see-him kind of guy, and he calls himself a gearhead. Cars and trucks have always fascinated him, and he has an enviable collection to prove it.
I bought a 1938 Chevy years ago, and that was the first of our antique cars, and then I just kept growing and liking it and kind of get addicted to it.
Logano's passion for antique cars and trucks grew, and so did his collection.
I got a 65 Corvette, and that came from a good friend of mine that I grew up from Sandbox days in Portland, Connecticut. I have a Ford Maverick. That was the first car, a 1971 Ford Maverick, the first car I ever owned.
But there was a car Logano always admired but never owned, and his family schemed to surprise him for a very special birthday.
So my wife told my daughter that she's throwing a party for me. I'm 60, and my wife told me we're throwing a party for my daughter because she's 30.
The combined special birthday celebration resulted in this, a stunning 1971 Buick Riviera, the car that had always eluded him.
My son and my daughter gave me that car, and it's not the car as much as it is them thinking of me, and it's just a beautiful car. They gave it to me for my birthday, and I was just totally stunned.
But what stands Logano's classic collection apart from the sheer numbers of vehicles is the sheer size of some of the vehicles. Logano has trucks, big ones in his collection.
I love the big trucks. I always loved big trucks since I was a kid. When I was 15 years old, I worked for a guy named Bruce Warnoff in Portland, Connecticut, and I called myself, I was the CEO of the pressure washer. So I washed every truck, I got all the grease and grime off. So I've been around big trucks all my life.
That love of trucks has endured and created priceless memories for Logano over the years, including when his son was about 4 years old.
It was a tradition that every Saturday we'd jump into Peterbilt, he'd jump in the bunk, we'd drive to McDonald's, he'd get his kids a meal, I'd get my Big Mac, we'd sit in the back of the bunk together and we'd have our lunch and then we'd drive back.
We should tell you that the son he's talking about is none other than NASCAR superstar Joey Logano. Listen to his dad talk about those antique cars and trucks, and you get the sense the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
There are a lot of them different. Everyone's got their own personality, where the clutch lets out, the way they handle, the way they steer, the way they ride. I also really enjoy driving them, you know, going out at night, you know, when it cools off and taking them through the country roads. My son actually took a big passion toward the antique trucks too, and he just enjoys. We came down here for Easter, and we just got into big trucks and chased each other around town in them. It was fun.
Having grown up with trucks, then owning a garbage company with a fleet of trucks, you can understand Logano's love of the big rigs and, of course, the classics. It's like he has two different types of vehicles to share with his kids, who are grown now, but here they're just Tom's kids. Joey rides the trucks with his dad, and Danielle rides the Riv with her dad. And of course, the new grandfather has plans in store for his grandson. He's re-outfitting one of the rigs for the next generation.
My thing is I'm going to put my son and my grandson in the back of that Peterbilt, and we're going to go to McDonald's, and that's why I'm putting a bunk on the back of a 53 Peterbilt.
So a new project is on the horizon for Logano and his classic wheels. It may seem like a museum in here, but for the man who owns all these, it's just a fun part of his life.
And it's just a getaway for me. It's my golf game, or it's my softball game, or, you know, so it's just a getaway. It's something I really enjoy and take some pride in.
And just in case you thought Logano treated his antiques like they were fragile pieces of history, yeah, not so much. For Carolina Impact, I'm Suzette RHEE.
Thanks so much, Suzette. The story of Tom Logano's collection is a snippet of our Trail of History program. The Antique and Classic Cars episode airs tonight, right after Carolina Impact. Well, there's a group of women in